Clubhouse Games is an interesting experiment. What if we took the cheapest, most shovelware-sounding concept possible, and then executed it with the polish and budget of a AAA Nintendo title? And I'd say it was a success. Congratulations, ND Cube, for making an unambiguously good game for once. I've learned to love a ton of classic board games that I never would have bothered with otherwise. Mancala, Hare and Hounds, Gomoku, Backgammon, Shogi. I've never even played Solitaire before, but this game makes it super fun. I think the key here is the engaging way this collection teaches you how to play, with these adorable little skits beforehand and convenient access to all the rules and hints in an easy-to-process way. I stand Naomi, the Sun Tzu of board games, and is hilariously brutal and lets the power get to her head, and it's really funny. Haha! The extra complicated games like chess, shogi, mahjong even have in-depth tutorials to help you along. However, much to my dismay, Hanafuda doesn't have one of these, and it seems to be the game people are struggling with the most. I mean, historically, Hanafuda was designed to be obtuse. You know, to fool the feds. Also, my brain isn't possibly big enough to comprehend mahjong. If you're looking for a way to play board games on the TV or on the go, I don't think there's a better collection than this. It's good looking, snappy, and has great sound design. The snap of a shogi piece hitting the tables, dropping your seeds in Mancala, getting a full line in Solitaire, it just feels good, and is easy to pick up and play. There are very few stinkers in this collection. Overall, I think the games that suffer the most are the ones with minimal or literally no strategy, like Ludo and War, which often just feel like pressing A and hoping you win simulators. Without the pieces physically being there, these types of games don't feel very satisfying, unfortunately. The amount of fun you can have with these really depends on your company, I guess. The games boosted the most are the ones that are expensive, rare, or obscure, and just generally more complicated to play without help. Like playing shogi without the what the heck does this piece do helper images would be a nightmare, especially since each piece has 2 different variations. Mancala is also way more accessible when you immediately know how many seeds are in each space, and you don't have to drop them manually. As for the less realistic minigames, they're super fun too. There is a surprising amount of variety, with each one bringing something special and fun to the table. A lot of people are excited for Bowling and Tanks specifically to be successors to Wii Sports Bowling and Wii Play Tanks, but keep in mind that these are not replacements for those. They are fun, but in a different, more simple way. My main gripe with these, however, is the fact that these games aren't very deep content-wise. Golf only has 9 holes. The 2 tank modes, bafflingly, only have 3 stages each. The same with RC cars. The shooting gallery no longer gives you bonus points for combos, and toy curling only has 1 mode where only 1 of the stones count, which isn't as fun as a potential multi-point mode. Considering with tanks and RC cars, stages can be randomly generated on the fly with that entire connecting switches gimmick, I thought there'd be way more stages with those, but they didn't do it. Basically, there are a lot of these games, but they go for the more wide and shallow approach. These are meant for one-off moments with friends. They are not particularly a time sink. Okay, so this is an amazing collection of games, no doubt about it, if there are only 2 players. Yeah, this is no party game, despite what you would think. When you have 3 players, this 51 game collection goes all the way down to 3. With 4 players, it goes down to 2. This is especially bizarre considering just how many of these games absolutely should work for more people. Chinese checkers, darts, bowling, yacht dice, golf, shooting gallery, and maybe even more if you're willing to do some tweaking. You do get more options if more than one Switch is involved, but considering this game's casual family appeal, that seems pretty niche in my situation. Mom and Pop aren't gonna have 4 Switches available for family game night, and if you only have 2 Switches, how fun is playing Uno really with 2 people and 2 CPUs? I mean, maybe. It really depends on who you want to play this with, I guess. So, how could this problem be fixed? Most of these games are completely designed around 2 players, and often have been for literally hundreds of years. Well, what about a tourney mode? If you have 4 players, make it split screen so 2 matches are going on at once, and then the winners of those 2 matches clash in one final brawl, or just have a tourney bracket or something. Just simple stuff like that would vastly improve this game overall. I'm hoping for patches, but considering ND Cube and Super Mario Party, I'm not getting my hopes too high. Single player, meanwhile, is fun. I mean, about as fun as these games are by yourself. Mastering each one by unlocking each difficulty level is a fun time, and online play is even available if you don't want to brush up against CPUs. Oh yeah, online play, you can play with your friends online. If you got a lot of online friends, it's a good way to play. But anyways, there are very few unlockables, and playing games meant for multiplayer and socializing by yourself can only get you so far, obviously. Basically, all this is to say, keep in mind the multiplayer limitations when buying this game. If you have people you want to play one-on-one matches with and aren't planning this as some sort of party showcase, this is an extremely valuable collection. The touchscreen as a board feature alone makes this a godsend for road trips at the very least. And now, what you've all been waiting for. 10 games that should be added to Clubhouse Games as DLC or in a sequel, a Volume 2. I don't know. Considering the branding, this is kind of weird territory, but it's fun to talk about. Also, remember when I said 10 games? It's way more than 10. I fooled you. More traditional card games. There are just so many ways to play with cards, it's legitimately bonkers. And this collection just barely scratches that surface. We should get Old Maid, Spades, Clubs, Hearts, and like a billion more that I've never even heard of. Even Go Fish, which funnily enough is also the only game featured in Mario's game gallery that is not in this collection. Think of the lore, Nintendo. Stratego is kinda like chess, except you have no idea what the other player's pieces are. Also Minesweeper. Maybe also a little bit of the war card game? No? Whatever, it's a super fun, competitive, and challenging game, and it was actually included in this collection's predecessor for the DS. But unfortunately, it was cut, and that sucks. The Royal Game of Ur. What a title. This is the oldest game board ever discovered, randomly dug up in ancient Mesopotamia. It's so ancient that nobody even knows its actual name, let alone how to play it. Historians had a heck of a time figuring out the rules from ancient tablets written far after the game's origin. It's like the game itself is a puzzle. With such an interesting history, being able to play it here would be a treat. Or you could do Senet, which is the exact same scenario, but in Egypt. Hanafatafalful. Vikings may have been expert plunderers with a freaky moon language, but if you wanted a way to release your berserker rage in board game format, there was also this option. Not exactly a gateway to Valhalla, but good enough. Interestingly, unlike basically every other game in this collection, this here is asymmetrical, and each side even has different objectives. Attackers have to take the king, defenders have to defend the king while he escapes. Super interesting stuff. The fact that Go isn't in this game is just weird. It's the oldest board game ever that is still regularly played, and is extremely popular. Not only that, but all the assets needed for it are already in the game. They're just used for Gomoku, so I assume implementing it wouldn't be too difficult. This is a game all about capturing territory and surrounding pieces. It's simple on the surface, but apparently is actually extremely complex. It would be a joy to have it here. Mario Party. Wait, hear me out for a second. It's no secret that the 6-ball puzzle is simply a direct port of a puzzle game from Mario Party 9. But the Mario Party series has quite the history of puzzle games beyond that, having a collection of all of them here like Mario Party DS did, but with online play, would be an absolute phenomenon. Puzzle Party, Bomb Breakers, Peace Out, Block Star, Stick and Spin, Triangle Twisters, Puzzle Pillars, Jewel Drop, whatever the heck the rest of the portable ones did, any of these would be amazing. Charge! This collection has recycled a lot of Wii Play minigames, and the only one left that really makes sense is Charge. I remember loving this one as a kid, ramming into scarecrows at high speed, jumping over stuff. It's immensely satisfying. Jenga. Nothing too crazy here, I just think it would be a fun motion control game, and would make great use of HD Rumble. As long as they got the physics right, you couldn't go wrong with this one. Minesweeper and Battleship. What's a better time-killing game than Minesweeper? Solitaire? Yeah, probably, but it's still certainly one of the most famous, and its inclusion is pretty self-explanatory. Vaguely similar in concept, there's also Battleship, which was included in the DS original but was cut here. For shame. Cribbage and Sequence. The ultimate hybrids between card game and board game. Kinda. Cribbage is a very complex old game, while the board is more about keeping track of score and how close to victory you are. This physical presence does add some unique flair and strategy. Sequence, meanwhile, is a big personal favorite of mine. It's kinda like Connect 5 Gomoku, but playing cards decide where you go. Jacks, meanwhile, can steal or destroy pieces depending on the amount of eyeballs they have. It sounds weird, but it's super fun, trust me. And yep, that's all I have to say about this. If there are any board games, mini games, whatever that you'd like to see in the future of this Clubhouse series, please let me know about it. This game has kind of gotten me into a board game kick, and I'm discovering all these really weird, obscure ones. I guess that's a testament to how fun this game is, huh? I seriously did not care about this kind of thing until Clubhouse Games came into the picture, and now look at me, making a top 10 list inside an impressions video. One final important note, add Naomi to Smash Brothers.
Sic Semper Tyrannis!